Chapter 1, Mishnah 1. The Torah forbids moving an object on Shabbat from a private domain to a public domain, or from a public domain to a private domain. This is the malacha of hotza'ah, taking out, which we shall refer to as transferring. The Mishnah will describe some forms of transfer that are forbidden by the Torah and some that are forbidden by the rabbis. We now turn to the words of the Mishnah. The transfers that are prohibited on Shabbat are of two types forbidden by the Torah, that are four types when rabbinic law is included. In the case of a person standing inside a private domain, and of two types forbidden by the Torah that are four types when rabbinic law is included in the case of a person standing outside in a public domain. This means that there are four types of prohibited transfers, two that are forbidden by the Torah and another two that are forbidden by the rabbis. Each set of four types is prohibited both to a person who is standing inside a private domain and to a person standing in a public domain. The Mishnah describes the two types of transfer that are biblically forbidden to a person standing inside a public domain. How is this so? Take the example of a poor person standing outside in the street, a public domain, and a homeowner standing inside his house, a private domain. If the poor person, while holding an object, for example a basket, in his hand, extended his hand into the house and put the object into the homeowner's hand, or if the poor person took an object, for example a loaf of bread, from the homeowner's hand and took it out of the house, in both of these cases, the poor person is liable for having committed a biblical transgression, and the homeowner is exempt. These are two types of transfer that are forbidden by the Torah to a person standing in a public domain. The Mishnah now describes the two types of transfer that are biblically forbidden to a person inside a private domain. If the homeowner, while holding an object in his hand, extended his hand out of the house and put the object into the poor person's hand, or if the homeowner took an object from the poor person's hand and brought it into the house, the homeowner is liable and the poor person is exempt. In the previous four cases, either the homeowner or the poor person has committed a biblical transgression. The Mishnah next describes two cases in which only rabbinic law is broken. If the poor person holding an object in his hand extended his hand into the house and the homeowner took the object from it, or if the homeowner put an object into the poor person's extended hand and the poor person, withdrawing his hand, took the object out of the house, they are both exempt with respect to biblical law, but each one has broken rabbinic law. The Mishnah ends with two more cases where rabbinic law is broken. If the homeowner holding an object in his hand extended his hand out of the house and the poor person took the object from it, or if the poor person put an object into the homeowner's extended hand and the homeowner, withdrawing his hand, brought the object into the house, they are both exempt at the biblical level, but these transfers are forbidden by rabbinic law.